Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously mind-bending theoretical framework that actually challenges our most basic understanding of reality. Now, general relativity has long taught us that space-time is this dynamic, geometric entity, right? Matter tells space-time how to curve, and curvature tells matter how to move. But what if we've been missing a massive piece of the puzzle all along? What if the fabric of our universe actually has physical properties we've just completely overlooked? Specifically, what if space-time is elastic? Okay, let's dive right into this. We all accept that the universe is expanding. The distances between galaxies are increasing, cosmic volumes are growing. It's a known fact. But standard physics treats this mostly as a kinematic process. It's just something that happens. This new framework, however, poses a truly fundamental physics mystery. What if this expansion is actually a geometric deformation that carries an energetic cost? What if stretching the universe isn't actually free?
All right, Section 1, the rubber sheet analogy.
In standard general relativity, we almost always think of space-time as a rubber sheet. You put a heavy bowling ball on it, the sheet bends, and that curvature dictates gravity. We've all seen that visual. But here is the proposed pivot. A rubber sheet doesn't just bend, it can stretch too. And anyone who's ever snapped a rubber band against their finger knows for sure that stretching stores elastic energy. This framework proposes that space-time itself has an intrinsic elastic response. It actually resists volumetric deformation, just like a physical material would.
Moving on to Section 2, measuring space-time strain.
To actually measure this, the theory introduces an extra geometric structure known as a local cosmological rest frame. Picture a dynamic field of arrows distributed evenly throughout all of space-time, with every single arrow pointing exactly along the local flow of cosmic time. And this isn't just some static, invisible grid. It is a living, breathing vector field governed by its own equations of motion, and it contributes directly to the gravitational dynamics of our universe.
Now, what's really interesting about this field is that it allows us to define a crucial new term, the expansion scalar. You can think of this as the exact geometric equivalent of engineering strain. You know, if you pull on a spring, the strain increases. Well, the expansion scalar mathematically measures the rate at which neighboring world lines in the universe diverge, meaning they stretch, or converge, meaning they compress. If this scalar is positive, our cosmic rubber sheet is actively stretching.
Let's break down the logical cause and effect chain here. Step 1. The universe expands. Step 2. Because it's expanding, the space-time strain increases. Step 3. Exactly like pulling that rubber band, elastic energy begins to accumulate, and it's proportional to the square of that deformation. Finally, Step 4. That accumulated energy acts as an effective stress energy component, which directly modifies how gravity works. We are literally taking the simple physics of a stretched spring and scaling it up to the size of the entire cosmos.
Which brings us to Section 3, a new dark energy.
And this brilliantly illustrates a profound difference when we compare standard cosmology to this new elastic framework. In standard cosmology, dark energy is kind of bolted on. It's this mysterious external fluid inserted by hand with a static equation of state, just to explain why the universe is accelerating. But in the elastic framework, this energy isn't some external, magical substance. It emerges entirely naturally from the intrinsic geometry of space-time itself. It creates an evolving, dynamic equation of state that genuinely changes throughout cosmic history.
Plus, this elastic contribution effectively modifies the gravitational coupling we observe in cosmological evolution. This is a process known as the renormalization of Newton's constant. Because gravitational strength is essentially altered on massive cosmic scales compared to our local measurements, it might completely shift our cosmological inferences. It could literally be the key to solving glaring physics headaches, like the Hubble tension, where our different ways of measuring the universe's expansion just stubbornly refuse to match up.
Section 4. Cosmic limits and stability.
Now, any modified gravity framework has to survive some brutal mathematical scrutiny, but the great news is that this one actually holds up. A rigorous perturbative stability analysis shows it consistently avoids runaway instabilities, pathological behaviors, and what physicists call ghosts, which are those highly problematic negative energy states. Because a positive elastic coupling means space-time naturally resists deformation, there are healthy, perfectly stable regions of parameter space. The theory stays consistent at the linear level.
But hey, nothing can stretch forever, right? That's where the framework introduces a totally fascinating concept called holographic saturation. Just like real-world materials have a maximum elastic limit before they snap, the expansion strain of space-time is bounded by a maximum value. It imposes a geometric ceiling, essentially a natural geometric pressure that emerges to resist any further stretching before classical physics descriptions completely break down.
So, where exactly is that geometric ceiling? The Planck scale. We are talking about a scale so unimaginably tiny that a single atom is to the Planck length what the entire visible universe is to that atom. Instead of allowing arbitrarily infinite strains, space-time draws a hard physical boundary right at this fundamental limit.
Section 5. Testing elastic space-time.
We don't just want nice math, though. We want proof. And this framework provides precise, highly testable predictions that set it apart from standard cosmology. Astronomers will actively be hunting for an evolving dark energy equation of state. They'll be looking for altered growth in large-scale cosmic structures. They'll search for tiny corrections in how gravitational waves propagate, and they'll seek out measurable, specific shifts in the cosmic microwave background. The absolute best part is that we have the tools coming online right now to do this. Upcoming and current precision surveys like the Euclid Space Telescope, DC, that's the Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument, and the Rubin Observatory will finally give us the massive experimental precision needed to test these geometric elasticity models. Pretty soon, we're actually going to have the data to know if space-time is pushing back.
Just to quickly ground this within the broader landscape of theoretical physics, this elasticity framework actually contains the Einstein ether theory as a limiting case. But, crucially, it fundamentally differs from scalar tensor theories because it doesn't rely on just throwing in an extra fundamental scalar field to make the math work. It stays firmly rooted in a purely covariant geometric framework, sharing conceptual similarities with emergent gravity without making the board unnecessarily complicated.
So, the crucial point we really need to take away is captured perfectly by this underlying philosophy. Curvature describes how spacetime bends, expansion strain describes how spacetime stretches, and elastic energy describes the energetic cost of that stretching. Together, these three concepts take what we learned from Einstein and completely elevate it, giving us a much richer, holistic geometric description of the universe.
For over a century, we've seen how curvature governs the movement of galaxies and stars, but it seems we might have been completely ignoring the very real energetic cost of a growing universe. If curvature tells spacetime how to bend, does elasticity tell it how to stretch? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep looking up and keep questioning the very fabric of our reality.